Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the video. I'm GetGoodGuy, and we have to talk about the Selbstlader 1916 because I thought it was good, so I went on to make sure, and oh my days, it is definitely good. Because I decided to only use this gun for this session, and I pulled out back-to-back 49 and 7, 30 and 5, 53 and 10, 23 and 1, and just went, alright, I gotta talk about this. Now, realistically, I am used to getting some good scores on this game. I have to. This is what I do every day, right? But this just made it so simple, and I don't see other people using it, so I have to bring it to your attention. It is fantastic for the right player. So, let's talk about who the right player might be and how to use it effectively. I'm rapping, I'm rhyming, I got that perfect timing, I'm gonna stop. Let's talk about the Selbstlader, because it's a beast. Oh, and by the way, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever you want to say. I know today is Christmas Day, but the grind doesn't stop. I gotta keep making that content for you guys, keep this thing growing, so I hope you enjoy. This is your Christmas present from me. I'm gonna be having a good day, you have a good day. Let's talk about the Selbstlader. What I'm not doing today is saying that this is a god weapon that nobody is using. Oh my god, etc, etc, throw clickbait all over the thumbnail, allié intro, etc. No, because if we're honest, the easiest or most forgiving weapons to use are the ones that get noticed and used extensively. They become the meta. And that doesn't just remain undiscovered in a video game, it just doesn't happen. But I have pointed out many weapons in the previous 2 years that people just haven't given a try, and some players have gone on to love them because they connect with the strengths of that weapon for true synergistic glory. And I truly think the Selbstlader 1916 can be one of those examples. I almost never get killed by it, nobody I know ever regularly selects it, and yet it's proving to be an absolute animal for me on a consistent basis. So stop ignoring it, you need to try it. Some of you may end up not liking it or just preferring something else, and that's totally cool, but you have to give it a try, because some of you will love this thing if you give it a shot, and it can be devastatingly effective. So let's get the most basic point out of the way. What is the main reason I like this weapon? What makes it so effective? Well, it's range. Range. Battlefield 5 has big open maps, I'm sure we're all aware of this, and the Selbstlader 1916 just fits so well with how a lot of the maps are designed. There are so many sections of the environments that have extremely long sightlines, open areas to cross, and essentially kill zones for suitable vantage points. The Selbstlader just works for these kind of scenarios. High damage, accurate, and the relevant capabilities to stay out of close quarters danger if you so wish. Picking enemies off at mid to long range is an absolute dream, but it still fires just about fast enough to be viable at close quarters. But you absolutely must be able to maximize that rate of fire, be very accurate, and have fast reactions. Because if you don't outshoot the enemy, you're just gonna die against a huge amount of other weapons that people like to use at close quarters. But as you've seen and will continue to see today, it's very much possible if you have the right abilities. Now, it does also have a very healthy ammo capacity. This was essentially why I started using it. While DICE had the longer times kill in the game, yes, oh, what a terrible period of time for most people, I got tired of how many bullets it took to kill with certain weapons and how often I was reloading because I was just using so much ammo. So out came the Selbstlader 1916, and I stumbled across just how lethal it can be. It has an ammo capacity of 26 rounds per reload. That beats all of the other semi-auto options currently available for the assault class, aside from the Gewehr 1-5, which has 31, which is pretty crazy, so fair play to that thing. But back to the point, the high damage model of the Selbstlader coupled with 26 rounds can provide kills for days if you can hit your shots. Now, it does have to be balanced, of course, so it has a rate of fire of 225 rounds per minute, without any specializations on it. This is the slowest of all the semi-autos currently available. The next slowest is the Gewehr 43, which fires at 300 RPM. Now, many will argue that the Gewehr deals very similar, if not the same damage as the Selbstlader at a quicker rate of fire, so why not just use that? And that's a very fine and fair point. I have had some success with the Gewehr 43 myself, even talking about why some people consider it to be the best rifle in the game over the backdrop of a 115 kills to 18 deaths gameplay, which I'll link to in the description and my pinned comment if you'd like to see it. And I do think that the Gewehr 43 is the more immediately lethal and versatile option, but I often just don't want to be dealing with that reload all the time. It's a bit of a pain and can be so frequent with that faster rate of fire and only 10 rounds available per reload. reload, which can be especially limiting when taking pot shots at range or attempting to take on multiple enemies. The Selbstlader 1916 just doesn't have that issue. 26 rounds is a lot, perhaps even overkill, and so pacing your shots nicely can result in a lot of kills over what can feel like extremely long periods without needing to reload. And if you do reload frequently, as I do sometimes, you can enter each engagement safe in the knowledge that ammo isn't going to be an issue. Fire away in a general area until you hit something, run into the middle of an enemy squad, simply miss the target sometimes, whatever it may be, it doesn't matter in terms of ammo, and that's certainly a great positive to have. We can add to this that I and many others are currently preferring semi-autos over full autos most of the time due to the average range of engagements in Battlefield 5, and also another reason, at least for me there's another reason. I'm utilizing the mid-range scope a lot in this game. It's actually kind of frustrating how often it just seems to be the best option. But alas, the mid-range scope tends to suit semi-auto weapons better due to the recoil pattern being shoot and reset rather than constant recoil for as long as you fire a full auto weapon. There's no need to burst fire with a semi-auto either, and the slower rate of fire of the Selbstlader 1916 gets you into a rhythm of taking worthwhile shots and measuring your tempo accordingly. Essentially, it conditions the right kind of player to be more lethal, patient, and accurate. All the while, the mid-range scope allows you to deal with ranged targets, which you'll be doing a lot, as well as just scoping whenever you need to check an area due to visibility issues. It works for both offense and defense, whilst not being too much of a hindrance at close range due to 3x magnification not being too extreme. But these potential strengths are also why this weapon isn't going to suit all players, because you do need to play into the strengths. Some people just prefer much close quarters options, or they get on much better with full auto weapons due to their ease of use and spray and pray capabilities. You do need to be accurate with this weapon because you'll be punished in a lot of situations for missing your shots. It's a risk-reward situation. Higher damage per bullet, but harder penalties for missing due to a slower rate of fire. If you're going to miss a lot, you're going to die a lot. But if you're going to hit the target consistently, you can look forward to a lot of 3-shot kills, or even 2-shot headshots. And keep in mind that there's attrition, so it's not uncommon at all to put a shot or two into someone and have them die quick as a flash due to them being weak. No need to leave yourself open for extended amounts of time firing off 4 or 5 shots. Just 1 or 2, down they go, and you're safe again. This concept makes peak shooting very effective too, the premise of shooting and taking cover repeatedly. Although you have a slower rate of fire, the damage is high enough that you don't need to put yourself in danger for long. Just get your shot off, and if it lands, it'll be highly valuable and you can get back into cover again. But let's talk specializations, as they essentially transform how the weapon performs. I personally go for quick aim, custom stock, lighten stock, and barrel bedding. Now this may seem a little strange for some, as they don't maximize some of what this weapon's good at, but I select these as I always want my weapon to feel responsive. I don't want slow ADS times, I don't want slow movement, I don't want to feel cumbersome and unable to react to situations quickly. I don't struggle to hit the target with this setup, and I don't like to rely on a bipod. So I like faster ADS movement, improved moving ADS accuracy, and improved overall accuracy when stationary. Now of course you could set yours up totally differently. If you want to just be a stationary range king and fully just go for mid to long range dominance without moving much or getting up close, then you could spec for higher velocity rounds and the bipod. You could also choose to have less upwards recoil and a faster rate of fire, boosted to 257 rounds per minute. Some people will absolutely love that, and I understand it, but I'm someone who moves a lot and likes to strafe. So the improved aimed fire while moving and higher movement speed while aiming are just things I can't give up. And so overall, if you're an accurate shot with good positioning, reaction times, and a solid grasp of pacing your shots, then the Selbstlader 1916 could help you to do some real damage. It's rewarding, it's fun, and it has a different feel to the other semi-auto options, but it'll also feel very familiar to anyone who used the Selbstlader M1916 extensively in Battlefield 1. Spamming your shots is a bit of a killer for this weapon, and it really won't suit those who don't have the right skill set. The only true way to find out if it suits you or not is to give it a try. So please let me know in the comments, are you keen to try this beast out? Have you used it before, and how rarely do you get killed by it? I'd be interested to see what the general consensus is. I'm going to play the rest of my footage out now with some background music if you want to see how I did and some more of what this weapon is capable of. I know lots of people enjoyed that when I did it previously in other videos, and there's some pretty cool stuff to come in here too. But obviously, you don't have to stay for that if you don't want to. Thank you for being here with me for a few minutes today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, then I'd super appreciate it if you'd hit the like button, subscribe, turn on notifications, and join my Discord server in the description and my pinned comment. I'll also throw up the board of awesome at the end of this video for the epic people who support the channel on Patreon. Special shout out to our latest patron, Eric Mudd. And with all of that said, I'm I'm GetGoodGuy, and I'll see you next time. Laters.
Sprengladungen sind scharf. Ich bin bei dir, Soldat.